just doesn't cut it. And we can also go a little bit further, use the web. I noticed our website doesn't have anything that mentions anything about, when you tune into the Grand Bend website, we need to put in there things that you can and cannot do on the beach. We don't have that. The Chamber has a very good one. They mention that the beach isn't dog friendly, but that's where it stops. I would like to see them put something in about no barbecue, and I would like to see them put something in about no glass containers. So there's work to be done, but is it better than it used to be? Yes, by all means.
Just a couple more, Your Worship. On the uniform thing, and I understand when people raise this because we used to get this at college with when we had in-house security, they were very different from the contract security, and I can tell you the in-house security, in my humble opinion, performed much better than the contract security. But uniform is a huge thing. Would it help if we resource that, if we had a design that appeared to be more official or whatever, and we provided those uniforms to your service? Would that?
I'm open to any suggestion in that respect. You know, if I get to look at it and agree to it, fine.
And then the last thing I have, Mr. Chairman, is on the tendering. The tendering thing is not a personal thing. The tendering thing, we have a procurement policy in Lambton Shores that needs to be followed, and we've been dinged in other areas because over the years it has not always been followed. And I think that is the suggestion. I don't take that as a performance appraisal situation here. We need to go by what our municipality rules are. And so I think that's where the tendering is coming from. But I'm glad you raised your timeline issues and your concerns on that.
Yes, my main concern is the timeline. I don't mind tendering.
Good. Anything else? Anyone else? Councilor McGuire.
Thank you, Your Worship. Mr. Crawford, thank you so much. I know this summer I toured around with you and you discussed at length your concerns about the signage and showed that, so hopefully we can get that rectified for next year. Just a couple questions. Do you carry liability insurance? Yes. You do? And as far as you mentioned training, so you do occupational health and safety training, workplace violence, AODA, all that training, documentation for that?
Yes, most of these kids already have that.
Okay. But they're working for you specifically, it has to be your corporation, so you have that documentation?
I do not.
Okay. Also, when you're doing your training programs, like what type of training programs are you training? Do you have it documented? Do they sign it? Is it all?
Is there a document?
Like, do you have a master training document that you use on a yearly basis and have that officer sign off that they've been trained on that document?
No. Do you train? That's why I brought my son. He's a paper man.
Okay. Okay. Anything else from council?
If I may, just further to the Deputy Mayor's question, she had asked about some of the changes that had been made over the years. So just thank you for that opportunity, because it is always nice to sort of go back and look over the years and see what we have done. A lot of these issues were brought forward actually by our bylaw officers when they've noticed an issue and something has to be addressed, and they also, of course, give us input on how to address them. Just a couple of bylaws that have been either increased, modified, changed, that affect the entire municipality is the streets bylaw that we did in 2005, which you use quite often. Improved the burn bylaw and requirements and restrictions. We did that again in 2009. Improved dumpster regulations, where they can be, how often they have to be cleaned, how close to a house. That was in 2008. Fireworks bylaw was done in 2008. It's up for renewal again next year because there's some new issues that have been brought to our attention. Site alteration bylaw for properties before they are issued a building permit or development agreement. That was in 2004. Parking bylaw is always continually updated to address new issues. The most recent one was the parking in the 81 Crescent parking lot for the school buses. We didn't amend that. So anytime that there's an issue that any of our staff identify, we do address. Property standards and tiny yard bylaws are always updated to reflect any new issues or concerns or the legislative changes. Changes for only Grand Bend primarily is the dedicated beach patrols and enhanced regulations. The beach bylaw was redone in 2009 and council dedicated someone for beach patrol. We dedicated money for Main Street patrols for the metered parking, which some people don't really agree with, but that's an issue for another day. We dedicated funds for Plan 24 enforcement, and also last year, as mentioned by Mr. Crawford, the fire chief, building official, and the bylaw officer did investigations of all the rental housing that had multiple residences for the safety of our clientele. In the south area, Center Wash launch ramp was probably the biggest issue. We had a lot of concerns there, and get some public input and some direction, and I believe it hasn't been a problem since the new rules and regulations have been in place. Grease trap inspections have been started. That's for the protection of our sewage system. Chip wagon licensing was done in 2007, and we did amendments to the dog bylaw to include regulations to regulate pit bulls. That was done in 2009. So there were quite a few things when you look back over the years that have been addressed, as well as some of the changes mentioned already.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions, Councilor McGuire?
Just one more for you to the clerk. Do we obtain WSIB clearance certificates for the bylaw staff? No. Their contracts with their contract employees working on municipal properties, should they not have a WSIB clearance certificate?
Okay. Thank you for the presentation. There is no further report on this. This is just for questions and information for council. I believe we have everything at this time. Thank you for that. Unless council has any direction. Councilor Boston.
I guess, Your Worship, the question here is, Mr. Crawford is raised, if we're going to have discussions around RFPs or tenders on this service, A, we need to have a discussion on what service we want, and in fairness, we need to respect his request on timeline. So I'm not sure where we go from here other than take a sheet. Here we go again with strategic planning. I hate to say it, but we need to have a discussion. This council needs to have a discussion. It's not an issue in the other areas. It's just an issue in the northern area, which maybe is a good thing. But we do have that little procurement policy that we have to respect. So I'm wondering if we should be sending this to discussion, strat plan discussion early in the new year. And in the meantime, I guess extend the contract. Is that it's an annual contract?
I think to get the timelines met, you probably need to continue with the current practice for 2014 and discuss it at strategic planning, whether we are contracting in September or looking for a request for proposals throughout the year. Councillor Underwood.
Yeah, I asked a question on a point of order on would that be a reconsideration of a previous motion about tendering out for bylaw enforcement? What was that, meeting ago?
Did we make that? Okay.
So we do a reconsideration and put it off until and the contract this year?
I really think with timing we have to. There's enough on our plate right now to stop this.
My concern is compliance with the procurement policy, and that is, so if we have that discussion on how we can do that, through you to the CAO.
Mr. Mayor, I think as was discussed when this issue came up before, council has the right to procure the service directly if that's what it chooses. Okay, if it wishes to make a decision to do a sole source procurement, it certainly has that ability. You're right, the policy does talk to other processes, but one of those processes can and should be, and council does have the right to make a decision and will change its policy at any time.
I guess I've never seen that in our current 2002 policy. It does not stipulate in that policy council has the right to directly assign work. That's why this